What's going on, everyone? Let me tell you about something that absolutely dominated the conversation on SportsCenter today, that has Lakers Nation divided between excitement and skepticism about potential roster moves as we head deeper into the season. I'm talking about the kind of trade speculation that forces you to really think about what this team needs right now versus what they might need long-term. The type of move that addresses specific weaknesses without mortgaging the future, and the kind of decision that could be the difference between making a deep playoff run or flaming out in the first or second round. So get comfortable, because what I'm about to share from today's ESPN broadcast isn't just about one potential acquisition. It's about the broader philosophy of how the Lakers should approach team building with LeBron James back in the lineup and playing at a high level. All right. Here's the situation that had the entire SportsCenter panel absolutely engaged this morning. And I'm talking about veteran NBA analysts who've covered championship teams for decades, but still found themselves debating the merits and potential drawbacks of what they were discussing. The main story, the headline that's been circulating through NBA front offices and media circles, is that Ysef Nerkach could potentially be available from the Utah Jazz at a relatively low cost. And when you really break down the Lakers' needs at the center position, when you see how Nurkic's skill set might complement what they already have, when you understand the financial flexibility his expiring contract provides, it becomes clear that this is more than just another random trade rumor. This is something the Lakers front office is almost certainly exploring seriously. Hey, what's up, everyone? Before we jump into this massive Knicks news, I just want to ask you for a quick favor that would mean the world to me. If you could just take 1 second right now and hit that like button, it would be incredibly important to me and helps this channel grow so much. I know it seems like a small thing, but those likes genuinely make a huge difference in getting this content out to more Knicks fans who need to stay updated on everything happening with this team. So seriously, just tap that like button real quick. It literally takes 1 second, and it helps me out more than you know. Let me start by giving you the full context that SportsCenter was establishing right at the beginning of the broadcast, because understanding where the Lakers are right now with LeBron back is absolutely essential for evaluating whether they should be making moves and what types of moves make sense. LeBron has been back for 3 games now, and he's averaging 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists. Which are solid numbers, but more importantly, he's playing within the team concept rather than trying to dominate the ball and take over possessions. The ESPN analysts were showing clips of how seamlessly LeBron has integrated back into the offense, how he's picking his spots rather than forcing things, how he's letting Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves continue to operate as primary creators, while he fills in gaps and makes winning plays. But here's what really got the SportsCenter crew fired up about the current situation. And this is where the debate about whether to make trades becomes so interesting. The Lakers have been winning games even without LeBron in the lineup. They've shown they can compete with good teams when their role players step up. They've demonstrated offensive versatility and improved defensive effort. The question that kept coming up during the ESPN discussion was whether adding pieces like Nurkic actually makes them significantly better, or if they should just ride with what they have and avoid disrupting the chemistry and rhythm they've built. The show dove deep into what Nurkic specifically brings to the table and why he makes sense as a potential target, despite being 31 years old and clearly past his prime. Nurkic is averaging 9.6 rebounds per game this season, which is strong production. In an area where the Lakers have struggled at times, he's a capable scorer around the basket who can finish lobs and putbacks. He's a decent passer for a big man who can facilitate from the high post. And most importantly, he has extensive playoff experience from his years in Portland. The SportsCenter analysts were breaking down how having a traditional center who can bang in the paint and protect the rim would take pressure off Anthony Davis, allowing AD to play more at the power forward position where he's most comfortable and effective. What the ESPN crew kept emphasizing, and I think this is absolutely critical for understanding why Nurkic specifically makes sense, is the contract and financial situation. Nurkic is on an expiring deal worth approximately $19.3 million, which means acquiring him wouldn't lock the Lakers into any long-term commitment. If he works out and helps them make a playoff run, great. They can explore re-signing him cheaply. If he doesn't fit, or if they want to pursue other options in free agency, they simply let him walk and maintain their cap flexibility. That optionality is huge for a Lakers organization that's always trying to balance winning now with maintaining financial flexibility for future moves. The panel spent extensive time analyzing what a potential trade package might look like. And this is where the debate got really interesting. Because the Jazz are rebuilding, and because Nerkach has limited trade value as an older player on an expiring contract, the Lakers could probably acquire him without giving up any core pieces. The SportsCenter analysts were suggesting combinations like Gabe Vincent, plus a second-round pick, or Rui Hachimura in a salary-matching deal, or some other package of role players and draft capital that wouldn't significantly impact the Lakers' rotation. The question is whether Utah would even accept such a low return, or if they'd prefer to just buy Nerkach out and let him sign elsewhere. What I found particularly fascinating during today's SportsCenter discussion was when they started talking about how Nerkach would fit alongside Anthony Davis and what it would mean for the Lakers' front-court rotation. One of the biggest concerns about AD throughout his career has been his durability and his preference to play power forward rather than center full-time. Having Nerkach as a true center who can handle the physical banging and rim protection duties would allow AD to play his more natural position, potentially keeping him healthier and more effective over the course of a long season and playoff run. The ESPN analysts were showing lineups with LeBron, AD, and Nerkach on the floor together in certain matchups, discussing how that size and physicality could be valuable against teams like Denver with Nikola Jokic. The show also explored the counter-argument about why acquiring Nerkach might not make sense, and this sparked really heated debates among the panel. Some analysts argued that Nerkach's lack of mobility and declining athleticism would be exposed in the Lakers' switching defensive scheme, that he'd get played off the floor in playoff matchups against teams with modern, versatile offenses. Others pointed out that the Lakers already have spacing issues with LeBron not being the shooter he once was, and adding another non-shooter like Nerkach would make the floor even more congested. The question kept coming back to whether the rebounding and paint presence Nerkach provides outweighs the potential limitations he brings. What the SportsCenter crew kept coming back to, and I think this is absolutely vital for understanding the Lakers' situation, is the broader question of whether they should be making any trades right now, or if they should just let the current group continue developing chemistry and playing together. One analyst brought up a really interesting point from Jason Timpf, who suggested that whether the Lakers make moves should depend on how LeBron looks physically as we get deeper into the season. If LeBron is healthy and spry in mid-January, then you make aggressive win-now move. If he's starting to look hobbled or dealing with injuries, then maybe you hold off and focus on longer-term building. The panel had mixed reactions to this philosophy, and honestly, the debate was one of the most interesting parts of the entire segment. Some analysts agreed that you can't mortgage future assets for a championship run if your best player isn't physically capable of leading that run, that it would be foolish to trade for pieces like Nerkach if LeBron is going to be limited or injured come playoff time. Others argued that good trades are good trades, regardless of any one player's health, that if you can improve your roster at a reasonable cost, you should do it because it makes you better both now and potentially in the future. What really struck me during the ESPN discussion was when they started connecting this to the Lakers' specific needs and how those needs exist independent of LeBron's health or status. The Lakers desperately need more athleticism and two-way play on the perimeter. They need wings who can defend at a high level and knock down threes. They need the kind of 3-and-D players that every contender covet. Names like Andrew Wiggins, Miles Bridges, Herb Jones keep coming up in trade rumors, and the SportsCenter analysts were discussing whether the Lakers should be prioritizing those types of players over a center like Nerkach. The show also touched on the reality that the Lakers' championship window is right now with LeBron at age 40 and still performing at a high level. Every season you don't win a championship is essentially a wasted year of what remains of his prime, and the organization has to be aggressive about maximizing this window, even if it means taking some risks or giving up future assets. The ESPN panel was divided on how aggressive the Lakers should be, with some arguing they should go all in and others cautioning that you can't panic and make desperation moves just because LeBron is getting older. One aspect that got really interesting discussion on SportsCenter was the idea that even if LeBron were to get injured or miss significant time, the Lakers might still be good enough to compete in the playoffs if they make the right additions. The analysts were breaking down how Luka Doncic has been playing at an MVP level, how Austin Reeves, when he's on, provides legitimate secondary scoring and playmaking, how the supporting cast has shown it can step up in big moments. If you add someone like Nerkach, who provides rebounding and paint presence, plus potentially a wing defender like Keon Ellis or Matisse Thybulle, suddenly you have a team that could maybe win a playoff series or two, even without a fully healthy LeBron. What I loved about today's SportsCenter coverage was how they contextualized all of this within the broader landscape of Lakers trade possibilities and roster construction. They discussed how Rob Pelinka has been patient and strategic rather than making panic moves, how the organization learned from past mistakes like the Russell Westbrook trade, how they're trying to add pieces that fit timeline-wise with Luka and could still be valuable even after LeBron eventually retires or leaves. The consensus seemed to be that any move the Lakers make should ideally help them both now and potentially in a post-LeBron future, which is why younger players with upside are more attractive than aging veterans on their last legs. The panel also explored the specific timeline considerations around December 15th, when a bunch of players become trade eligible and the market really opens up. The Lakers are now about 3 weeks away from that date, which gives them time to evaluate how everyone looks with LeBron back in the lineup, to see if any chemistry issues emerge, to assess which players are expendable and which ones have proven they're essential to what the team wants to do. The SportsCenter analysts were discussing how Pelinka historically likes to make an early move around mid-December to address one need, then reassess and potentially make another move closer to the February trade deadline. Listen, after watching the entire SportsCenter segment today about Ysef Nerkach potentially joining the Lakers and the broader questions about their trade strategy, I'm absolutely convinced that this team needs to be aggressive about improving the roster, but smart about how they improve it. Nerkach makes sense as a low-cost addition who addresses specific needs around rebounding and paint presence without requiring any long-term commitment. His expiring contract gives them flexibility, his playoff experience could be valuable, and his ability to take minutes at center would help keep Anthony Davis healthy and fresh. But the Lakers also need to keep their eyes on the bigger prize of adding legitimate two-way wings who can defend and shoot, because that's ultimately what's going to determine whether they can compete with elite teams like Oklahoma City and Denver in a 7-game series. The health of LeBron matters obviously, but good roster construction matters regardless. And the Lakers can't afford to waste this opportunity to build something special around the Luka LeBron AD core they currently have.